Here we are in Indianapolis, Indiana at Gen Con Indy, and I've got Erik and Jerry Snook from Wizards of the Coast. And gentlemen, give me a little reason to believe what you're going to talk about.
Well, we're showing a little bit of Dungeons & Dragons Online. Our topic is basically on Dungeons & Dragons Online, covering both the Eberron campaign as well as now the Forgotten Realms campaign. I've been with Turbine for 6 years working on Dungeons & Dragons. I started playing before I got hired at the time that it was launching, and I came in and started with Module 1 of Dungeons & Dragons. I've been on that team this whole time, and I'm currently senior producer. Worked my way up the ladder to really be part of this game in full force, and big plans for what we're going to do over the next couple of years. But couldn't be more excited to talk about how we've gone into Forgotten Realms and how we've made this a possibility in this game that's already existed for some time and has just launched its first expansion pack.
Cool. What about you, Jerry? What's your geek credit?
Well, I've been playing D&D since the days of first edition. That may count for something. I still have my boxes from my minis.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
ADD.
Yep.
I've had ADD as well. Oh, wait.
I still have my mini boxes from the old TSR mini days.
Awesome.
Let's see. I actually have also, like Erik, I started out as a player of Dungeons and Dragons Online. I was a big fan of it, and I did some podcast work, and just I don't know. I guess I somehow found my way into a job here, so it's been a great time. I do community work for Dungeons & Dragons Online, so talk to a lot of players all the time, do conventions, forums, Facebook, Twitter, good stuff like that, and I really love what I do. So
very awesome. Could you tell me what you got going on here?
Yeah, so we're here today set up in the Wizards of the Coast booth with Dungeons & Dragons Online. It's a Warner Brothers Games Turbine published product, and I'm the senior producer on the game development. Right now what we're looking at is our new expansion pack content. So the latest release in our expansion has done something that we hadn't thought of we'd ever really be able to do in times past. We've taken the Eberron campaign and we've actually ripped open the sides and created a path to the Forgotten Realms. So we're actually within the one game, we're able to travel from one D&D campaign setting to another one, and we're doing that by allowing players at level 15 to sort of cross that barrier and go through those portals. So what we're looking at now is this place in the Underdark of Eberron called Kyber, and a rift has been opened up by Lolth. In Forgotten Realms, Lolth is the queen, the goddess of the Underdark Drow, and
the large spider.
She's the real deal. But in Eberron, she's more of a demigod. So what we have demonstrated on the floor today is players get to play against the Spinner of Shadows, the Eberron version of Lolth, and then they get to witness this portal being ripped open, and then we see Lolth's lair, which is this place called the Demon Web. What we've brought to life here. It's a vast region in between the realms that has the elements of destroyed worlds that Lolth has conquered and sucked into her realm.
Very cool.
So one of the things we're doing with this expansion is we've opened up what we call wilderness areas. They're explorable, open landscape adventure areas where we have random encounters and all sorts of treacherous things, from traps to various monsters, and you'll travel to these things on your way to go into different quests. In this first experience, people will travel from the Demon Web to the Underdark and all the way to the Kingdom of Cormyr in the King's Forest, which we'll demonstrate here in a moment. And one of the things that we're really proud of for this expansion as well is we've introduced a character into our game that's very well known in Forgotten Realms, and that's Elminster himself. And another thing that I'm also very pleased with that is that
he must have come through the rift that she made.
Elminster has a voice.
Rift to the other world.
Excellent.
Perhaps perhaps ye have come to mend it.
Who plays the voice?
We got an actor named Brad Venerable.
Okay.
He was one of 30 auditions, and we worked very closely with Wizards of the Coast to identify what Elminster really would sound like based on the descriptions, based on consulting with the original author. So we really went to the roots to say, is this the right guy? We picked somebody who really embodied that voice for our Elminster character.
Awesome.
Because we want him to be represented properly. So Elminster comes in and says, hey, we have a common problem. Lolth is going to destroy your world. She's really terrorizing our world. So we should work together. And we'll go ahead and teleport over to King's Forest. So, oh, sorry, you have to jump out. When we go to...
Hang on. Ready.
So after our adventurers travel from the Demon Web through the Underdark, they'll make their way to a little village that's been under siege by the Drow. The Drow have been using a summoning called the Darkening to make the skies black and allows them to travel in the upper world. And they're searching for something in this little village outside the King's Forest called Evening Star. And the wilderness surrounding is more treacherous than it used to be because the Purple Knights of the Kingdom of Cormyr are trying to protect the city, and they aren't really patrolling the forest. This, of course, makes for great adventuring. All of this takes place in epic levels, and there's a big difference in the regions between the look and feel of the Eberron campaign and the Forgotten Realms campaign. So we really tried to bring that to life. The style, the technology. We've upgraded the engine for graphics for trees, and it's supporting DX11, for example.
That's beautiful.
The environment reacts to like grass move as you run through it. All these things that try to really bring this world to life in a video game experience.
How does that affect your computer systems?
You know, some of the things that we've added are pretty light in performance. We did a lot of research into what our player base is currently using, and we slightly changed our min spec. The change might be that you need to run a DX9 instead of DX11 if there's some performance issues with an older system. So the other things that we've added in here are Epic Destinies, which is part of the Epic levels above 20. You can level up to 25. It's a little bit inspired from the 4.0 D&D system. The game is originally more 3.5 based rule set, but we're an MMO and a video game, and so we had to make changes anyways based on it's the experience in the video game is different than pen and paper.
Right.
So our system is adapted to go along with that. But those familiar with the 3.5 rule set will understand the character build initially, and then features within are more modern and up to date with the current D&D system. So it's a bit of a hybrid there. The other thing that we've added in is the Monster Manual. This is something that's just now coming out this month in our latest release. The Monster Manual is based on the traditional Monsters Manual. You'll buy them in volumes. The first couple of ones we're giving out for free. For example, your first early player experience, the 5 monsters that you encounter are in your Monster Manual, and you'll have that, understand how the system works. Basically, the Monster Manual will unlock information as you encounter these monsters. So you'll have a list of what monsters you can be looking for, but if you kill 10 spiders, you'll see the silhouette. On page 2 of the manual, you can see what types of spiders you've encountered, and that's actually a 3D render of those, whereas the models for the first page, the images are directly from the actual monster manual you would buy at the bookstore.
Oh, very
so
cool.
we're keeping very true to that tradition of that feel of Dungeons and Dragons, and that's really what we're trying to accomplish with this. Is you have your adventures, your play experience, your fun, your monsters, the story, and the way that these adventures are set up is the DM telling you what's around the corner or what something might smell or sound like, giving an additional description beyond what's visually represented, and we're representing that true D&D experience in a video game format.
Very cool.
Anything else you'd like to say?
So, Jerry, tell me something weird and wonderful about the game, or your life with the game.
Let me think about that one there. Something weird. What would be something weird?
Nothing about Dungeons and Dragons and playing is weird, right?
No, not at all.
Nothing ever happens strange.
We have
at a Gen
we
Con.
have great gelatinous cubes.
Oh,
There we go.
delicious.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you can swim in them
Yes.
and take some damage.
Yeah.
But
Are they vodka or tequila gelatinous cubes?
Well, I don't know. I don't think no one who's ever tried to find out has survived to live to tell the tale. So we're just going to have to assume the answer is sure. Why not? You know.
You've never had anybody take gelatinous cube shots.
No. Well, I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm just saying they've never lived to tell about it.
And it wasn't
you know.
intentional.
Yeah, right.
that might be a new Gen Con tradition to start, though. Let's figure out how to do that.
Oh, here's another fun fact. It is possible to engage in a drinking contest with beholders.
Really?
That's right.
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
an in-game beholder drinking contest.
Yep.
What about you, Eric? Got anything weird and wonderful, little anecdotes about the game or your experience?
I try to keep up with our players in terms of the amount of time that I play. It's hard to work on a game and play it for as many hours as I'm earning XP that isn't on live, because I'm constantly in the new development. But I've got a regular static group, and I've got our lunchtime dev crew, and then our evenings that we play. And my confession, though, is that I'm an alcoholic. I go through so many low-level characters compared to the number. The XP earned could probably have leveled me several times, and maybe even some full true reincarnation characters. But I've put a lot of hours into those quests over the years. In fact, next to my boss, the EP himself, I have the second highest hours burned in DDO in anyone else on the development team.
You are number 2 in the world, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Very awesome. Well, thank you, Eric, and thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you very
and from Gen Con Indy, this has been the Weird Review.
All right.